Alright, and welcome to our first section of 1-3, the distance formula. Now, what if I were to give you 2 points, and let's say it was 3 comma 9, and, I don't know, let's say 12 comma 15. And what I want you to do is I want you to find the distance between these 2 points. Now, just to show you what this would look like graphically, we know that 3 comma 9 would be somewhere about here, and 12 comma 15 would be somewhere about here. We're saying like, hey, we want to know how long is that line. Well, the first thing we need is the distance formula. And so the distance formula is going to be this. D is equal to the square root of parentheses x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Now, if this looks difficult at a first glance, I can assure you it can be a little intimidating, but after you do about 2 of these, you'll find that it's very, very simple. So, ask yourself, think back to the midpoint formula and our slope formula. What was the first thing that we did in both of those situations? Well, we always labeled. So, we have x1, y1, and x2, y2. And let's go ahead and plug these things in. So we have D equals the square root of parentheses, and we see that our values here are going to be x2 minus x1. Well, here's x2 minus x1, so 12 minus 3 squared. Okay, and let me actually try and keep that in this turquoise or teal color here, plus parentheses. And now let's go ahead and look at our y values. We see y2 is 15 minus y1, which is 9. And of course, I really do want to try and keep that in teal, so there we go. So, as I go through this, take a look at this and ask yourself, what do you think would be the easiest thing to do next? Should you add these 2 large parentheses? Should you square the parentheses, or should you subtract on the inside? And of course, subtraction will be the easy thing. So 12 minus 3 will give us 9 squared plus, and 15 minus 9 will go ahead and give us 6 squared. So now we have D equals the square root of, and ask yourself, what is 9 squared? Well, 9 squared really means 9 times 9. It means it's there twice. So 9 times 9 would, of course, be 81 plus, and what is 6 squared? Or what is 6 times 6? Yeah, very good. It would be 36. Now, come over here, and we have D is equal to the square root of 81 plus 36. And at this point, for these larger numbers, I would encourage you to grab a calculator. And 81 plus 36 would be the square root of 117. Now, you can either go to an online calculator to take the square root of this, or you could go to your iPhone, flip it to the side, and if you type in 117 and then push the little square root button, you will get 10.82. And since we haven't given any sort of label here, we'll say units. This is how long that distance will be. As always, I encourage you to pause the video and let's try another one. Okay, example 2. Now, in this example, we want to find the distance of A, B. And I'm going to start by giving y'all an XY axis. Let's do something like this. We'll call this point A. And as I continue to draw this, think about what is point A? Where is that located? And here's going to be point B. Let's make this line really pop. Okay. So, what I want you to do is I want you to find the distance or the length of AB, line segment AB. So how are we going to do that? Well, the first thing we want to do is we want to label. So when you look at point A, where do you think point A is? Well, it appears to me it's gone to the left 3, so negative 3, and it's gone up 2, so negative 3, positive 2. Okay, let's look at point B. It's gone to the right 1, that's positive, and it's gone down 4, and since it went down, of course, that would be negative. And much like our last example, we always want to label. And so we have x1, y1, and of course x2, y2. And let's go ahead and plug all of this into our distance formula. So we know d is equal to the square root of, and if you will recall, we start by subtracting our x's, so x2 minus x1, or aka 1 minus negative 3, and we'll square that, plus, and over here, we're going to subtract our y values, and so we have y2, which is negative 4, minus y1, which is 2. And of course that's squared. Okay, and so let's go ahead and work this down. We know that two negatives make a positive, and 1 plus 3 is going to be 4 squared, plus negative 4 minus 2. Remember, when you have two negative numbers, it's like you owe $4 and then you owe $2 more. Well, how much do you owe in total? You owe negative 6. Now, a very interesting thing is about to happen here. We know 4 squared. 4 is there twice, so 4 times 4 is 16. But what about negative 6 squared? Well, negative 6 squared is actually equal to negative 6 times negative 6. And ask yourself, what happens when we multiply two negatives? A negative times a negative is a positive 36. And so we always want to be very, very careful there that when we square negatives, we always make sure we know that they are positive. Okay, so now we have d equals the square root of, and let's see, what is 16 plus 36? Well, that's going to be 52. And like I said earlier, use your calculator. You can go and type 52, turn it sideways, or you can do this online. Take the square root, and it turns out our distance will in fact be 7.21 units. Alright, I hope this video helps, and good luck. I'll see you guys in our second section.